imagine my absolute shock when Spurs scored first. I mean, Wolves should be getting 100 to 1 odds to score first now. I mean, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? So, listen, we always knew it was going to be a tough game today, but, I thought Cody had a good game, and I also thought Morgan Gibbs-White had a good game, and once again, I haven't been his biggest fan, but he's clearly a confidence player, and I think he did deserve 90 minutes today, and it was disappointing to see him come off. And I'll probably get pelters for saying this, but Fabio Silva does absolutely nothing for me. And I think the front two offered very little today. You could never see us, as soon as we go a goal down today, you can never see us getting back into it. But it is what it is. We've got to accept it. And I think there's a lot of work to do in the summer. I think Conor Cody needs a recognised centre-half with him. There's players who filled in, i.e. Dendoncker and, Sayis, but I just think, Bolly, for one, if he comes back but they still need another defender, another recognised centre-half to partner either of the two, because, I just think the ones filling in aren't good enough. Anyway, keep tuning into the fantastic work that Talking Wolves are doing. Over now.
Just poor again. This is just getting to the point where it's embarrassing and we do not look like improving. And next season doesn't really look as though it's going to really change either, to be quite truthful with you. This is just not good enough at all. The final score was Spurs 2, Wolves 0. It could have easily finished 6-0 and I probably wouldn't have argued that scoreline, to be honest with you. The team selection again it just seems as though the players who played very well against Brighton are rewarded for a place on the bench. I mean, Aït-Nouri's been probably one of our best players in the last couple of games since probably Burnley. His reward is obviously a place on the bench. Max Kilman immediately made the defence look 10 times better against Brighton. Of course, he's on the bench, makes a lot of sense. Ruben Neves, probably our best midfielder. You could understand, he's out of form, but he's being replaced by Dead Donkey and João Moutinho, who hasn't got any legs. I mean, I just don't really get that selection either. And Morgan Gibbs-White, he showed a lot of bottle against Brighton. I mean, most of the players probably would have cowered away if they, missed that opportunity that he did. But then to come up and score, and it seems as though the reward for that was to play in a position where, of course, he's going to look uncomfortable, and you're not going to see the best version of Morgan Gibbs-White. And even Vitinha, he's more of a centre midfielder than a number 10. The first half, it just didn't look that good, to be honest with you. It was just very, very average. And I mean, the worst part is that's probably one of our better first half performances. Even then, that wasn't good enough at all. Spurs, were starting to create a load of opportunities. I mean, when Kane hit the post in the first 5 minutes, you're thinking it could really be, an uphill struggle. To be fair, we didn't really get forward that much. Adama was making a load of runs, but his decision-making was just poor in the final third. Moutinho and Dendoncker, ironically, the two midfielders who, of course, absolute problems for us, of course, get overrun in midfield. And they were just losing every single midfield. But, I mean, how is Dendoncker still at this football club? I mean, he's so bad. Genuinely, he's in the George Savile debate of one of the worst and the Tommy Rowe debate, one of the worst midfielders we've had in the modern era of Wolverhampton Wanderers. I mean, so poor. And then Cody was, don't get me wrong, I thought Cody actually was playing really, really well in that first half, but the communication between the back line was god-awful. I mean, it's split between Cody and Sayis. You've got to ask questions of them. You've got to ask questions of Semedo as to why he's not coming out, to be in that defensive line. It just seemed as though the back four was just all over the place, really. And to go in a half-time, a goal down just absolutely killed us. I mean, we can obviously debate, our VAR didn't obviously get its lines out because it's Harry Kane and whatever. But the reality is that goal was coming. And the second half comes along and nothing changed. And we just got worse and worse and worse. And it seemed like Spurs were still in second gear for long periods of the game. And I mean, the fact it was only 1-0 after that chance was just, it was embarrassing. I mean, Patricio saving us again. And then the Dele Alli shot as well. Well, they've hit the beans on toast twice. I mean, wow. But the second goal is the one that really pisses me off, because the shots come in. Who the fuck is following Hojbjerg when that second shot is coming in? You follow your man, and if anything, you don't switch off at any opportunity. And we switched off massively defensively again today. And yeah, there's nothing to me that suggests that this is going to turn around. There's nothing to suggest to me that there's only going to be any sign of any improvements. A lot of people, and I mean, I must stress, this is not the same circumstances, but it is a very, very similar principle. So Mick McCarthy, in that final season, before we got relegated, the talk was, get rid of him and get a fresh start for the new season. So it gives a new manager a full pre-season to change absolutely everything. Nuno's gotten to the point now where, you know, we have literally changed massively, and we look a shadow of ourselves. The last time we played Spurs, we took the game to them and we actually played our football. And now we're a coward of ourselves from last season. And there's nothing to me that suggests that this is going to improve. Pre-season or not, he has got to go. 6 wins in 2021. 20 goals scored. No attacking intensity to our football. No sign of any improvement. The manager has gone past his stay again. And it seems as though the only way that we can win games at this moment in time is either for a lucky goal or a red card for the opposition. Other than that, we don't have anything that suggests to me that this is going to, you know, massively change overnight. With Jimenez, with Pedro Neto, with Willy Bolly, with all of the injured players we've got, it's not going to improve. But, you know, he achieved us Europe, so we can't complain, can we? He is God. Thank you for having me on Talking Wolves, and yeah, hopefully I'll be more positive for Everton. Because I can be positive when the team plays well. Thank you.
2-0 defeat. Could have been more, could have been less. We'll never know. I wasn't expecting a win, but I also wasn't expecting a loss. I would have liked a draw, obviously. I would have loved a win, but that didn't happen today. It was another young team once again. There was 4 changes, including Morgan Gibbs-White, which I was glad to see starting a game. I felt like he deserved to after scoring his first Premier League goal last week. I also was expecting to see Ait-Nouri. I thought he has had some really, really good games in the past few weeks, but obviously he wasn't in the starting lineup. Really nice to see Semedo back in the lineup again. Obviously mixed reviews about Semedo again, but I thought he did good. I really rate the guy. I think he does really good. Nice to see Dendoncker back, giving some height in the team, as we know, because Wolves aren't the tallest of teams. I think in the first half, Vitinha wasn't having a very good game. I counted that he gave the ball away at least 3 times, which I don't think you should be doing, especially if you're in the centre of the pitch. I didn't think Morgan Gibbs-White had the strongest of games. Obviously, I'm glad that he got to play, and I'm glad that he got to play the amount of time he played, but I didn't think he did enough to help the team out in today's situation. I think that Traore did really well. Obviously, when Traore plays, he brings dynamics, dimension to the team that nobody else brings, and it just changes the game. He ran at least 3 times down the middle, but obviously Fabio Silva didn't help and didn't finish those chances, and I just wish that he would have gone straight forward and through these people, because he can take on 6 people, just carry on and take a chance, be more daring and challenges. I thought man of the match by a mile was our captain, Connor Cody. I thought he was really, really good today. He cleared so many times, and I heard that Gary Neville on Sky Sports was saying that it was like a new little record of the most clearances in a Premier League match. So I'm really glad for him. I'm really upset because I don't think the team deserved a loss, but like I said, it is what it is. I also thought Saiss was very good, but I feel like he needed to be very careful with some of the interventions he was doing, especially on Dele Alli, because it could have gone either way, could have gone to a penalty, could have little things that you don't know that different referees would be different, and we shouldn't be giving away free kicks in the places that he gave those free kicks away, because as we know, Wolves concede a lot from set pieces, and we don't want that to happen. I thought the first half was solid in general. I thought that we could have got more goals. I thought that we could have possibly scored goals because we were very, very solid. And I thought after the first half, we were doing pretty good. But There was also a lovely pass into Semedo on the left side, but obviously he gave it into Morgan Gibbs-White, but he unfortunately didn't reach him, and I just thought that would have been a really good chance and goal. I do feel like we need to be more confident, build more passes, and just create chances and just not sit back. Obviously, I feel like it was a typical end of the season, nothing to play for. A lack of performance, and at the end they got what their efforts deserved. I felt like in the second half, I feel like there was an unlucky header from Saiss, what would have possibly been a good goal, and we just need to make more accurate passes in the long term. But like I said before, it's end of the season, nobody's really trying. It was good to see Theo on the pitch, first Premier League appearance, giving him a chance. Obviously we're near the end of the season, so what have we actually got to lose after the season we've had? It was also lucky for us that Tottenham hit the bar that twice, because otherwise it would have been 3-0. Second half, just poor. I feel like when Willian Jose came on, I thought like he didn't really give much to the game, but obviously he didn't have the opportunities to do anything with the game. He had that crossing from Traore, which he couldn't get the ball out of his feet, but I also felt like he had more time than he thought, and he could have taken a shot instead of passing it back. Also on the Hojbjerg goal on Tottenham, Bale was wide open, no one was covering him, which I was screaming at the TV for, because Semedo was once again not covering his player, just letting Bale free, and obviously Bale had the shot. Patricio saved it and it went out to Hojbjerg, which obviously scored the goal, but deserved a loss in the end, because our second half wasn't the strongest. But yeah, nobody in the box for Traore. I think Fabio needs to be a lot stronger, but 2-0 down, on to the next game, and we shall see what the next game brings.
Right, well, that wasn't very good, was it? Spurs 2, Wolves 0, and I think a game that personifies and symbolises the downfall of the team in the last 2 years. You know, when we consider that this is a Spurs team that we beat in their sort of, you know, prime Pochettino era, 3-1 at Wembley, I think that this result and performance particularly is a far cry from the team that we knew, and I think really puts into perspective the problems that we've had this season. I think tactically and in terms of just performance and want and will to win, we haven't seen that this season, and this game was another one of those. Just a really, really terrible performance. Absolutely no forward impetus, no midfield impetus, which is the big thing which I'll get onto in a minute. I thought defensively, on the most part, we were actually okay. I thought Connor Cody had an outstanding first half. For a player that I've given a lot of criticism to, I will happily praise him when he performs well. And he was superb in the first half. 2 goal on clearances, good leadership from corners, was attacking the ball, which is something that we haven't seen him do this season too much. So it was good to see that. If we move on to the lineup, which was of course the source of the controversy, Max Kilman dropped after a good game, and this has been the theme that really frustrates me with Nuno this season, is that players will play well and then get dropped. I don't know whether he'd picked up a knock or something like that, but he was really good against Brighton. Takes him out again and puts Saiss in, and we know Cody and Saiss as a back two don't really work very well, and they were both at fault for the first goal. I haven't seen the second goal, so I can't comment on it. I missed it when I was on the train, but I did catch the rest of the game after that, so apologies for that. But I thought 2-0 down, at least try and get something going. But, you know, there was just no real impetus. Again, you know, Fabio Silva, we tried to give him a lot of praise. He had a poor game today. Willian Jose didn't really do much when he came on. Gibbs-White looked so much better when he was played in the 10. Again, on the wing, he started him on the wing. Really poor decision in my opinion. He plays so good at a 10, so why are we playing him on the wing when we know he's better as a 10? Moutinho and Dendoncker in midfield, our two worst midfielders this season, partnered up. It's decisions like this, you know, putting Semedo at left back to accommodate Keanu Hoover instead of just playing Semedo and Aït-Nouri, which has been far more effective this season. Just really strange decisions in the lineup, and I just didn't think we were able to get much going. I think a lot of fans saw the lineup and thought that, you know, this was going to be a pretty much a we were going to lose again, and we did. And it's frustrating because the fans can see it. Why can't the management see it? I guess, looking on the other side, Nuno's trying something different, which is what we've asked for. Changing the team around, seeing who works who. We've got nothing to play for, so you can see that side of it. But at the same time, you can't sacrifice that for just nonsensical substitutions like Gibbs White coming off for Neves at 2-0 down. It makes no sense. He's moved Gibbs White into the 10. Gibbs White starts to have more of an influence on the game, getting us forward, and then he brings him off for Neves, who's a deep line playmaker, holding midfield or whatever. It makes absolutely no sense, and I don't know whether Dave will be able to put the picture of Adama Traore looking for someone to cross to. It sort of just sums up the style of play this season, and it just sums up how poor we've been. And it's as much as it pains me to say, it does reaffirm my beliefs that we do need wholesale changes in the summer. I think that defensively we need players. Midfield is crying out for someone energetic and powerful that's able to get us up the pitch, and we need just to play a system that works for this team, because at the moment, this whole thing with Nuno developing young players is going to go down the drain if he plays them out of position. Gibbs White is a 10. Don't play him on the wing. Don't accommodate Keanu Hoover, because he hasn't really been a standout player for us this season. Ait-Nouri's been a standout player. He might have had a knock, I'm not sure. But it's just little things like this, and just the lack of fight, the lack of desire, the lack of any sort of tenacity, lack of energy. You've got players walking around. Dendoncker anonymous again. Moutinho poor in possession again. It's just all around a poor performance, and it just leaves my head scrambled. I can't get my head around some of the tactical decisions that have been made this season. I'm hoping for wholesale changes in the summer. I don't think we'll get them, but yeah, another poor performance this week. I'm hoping for better next week. We just gotta cross our fingers, really.
Hi everyone. Tottenham 2, Wolves 0. The lineup, I thought when I saw it, oh well, Nuno's definitely changed it. Took Kilman out, which I was quite surprised about. The first quarter, maybe the first 20-25 minutes of the game, we looked quite impacting, and I thought, do you know what? Maybe he's made the right choice. At the stroke of half time, obviously, we saw what Kane can do when in a dangerous position, and then I thought, well, maybe after the second half we can come back, as we do, because we're great at coming back on the second half. But I didn't see anything like that. I didn't see anything. Traore I thought was brilliant. In the first half, making the runs, and he was getting some good service. Cody as well. His defence, he was doing great, and from what I've heard, he's got man of the match, which. He was making some good clearances, but it was Tottenham were just too much for us. That the second goal as well, but it was just another one of those days, and we've got 2 games left now, and on to the next game. Thanks guys, and thanks for talking Wolves, for letting me giving me the opportunity to come on. Thanks.
All right then, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Tottenham 2. I mean, the first half, pretty good. We played really well, actually. Cody had 10 clearances in the first half, which, I mean, at the same time does show that they were attacking and wanted to win more than us. It was a late goal, very bad defending. I think Cody was, to be fair, he was quite unlucky not putting his leg fully out, but it was a great strike from Kane, to be honest. Everyone was playing really well. If anything, I was very happy with Fabio. Actually, he was playing quite well in the first half. Gibbs White had a nice couple through a few runs. Traore had a nice couple runs up the side. Then we came into second half, and all the commentators say they will perform better in second half. Well, that was just the opposite, really. We played really, really bad in the second half. We had barely any chances. It was really bad. They were the ones on the front foot, and we were kind of just sitting back waiting for them to make a mistake so we can run up the field. And when we did, there'd be just Traore or Fabio. It wasn't great. The second goal was very sloppy. I don't know what Hoover was doing. And then what was it? It hit the woodwork, and then Hojbjerg puts it in. Pretty lucky, but not great. Corbanu had his first little go. We couldn't really. I couldn't say much about him really. Didn't really get a chance on the ball. If he did, he was getting knocked over because I guess he's not even 19 yet. 18. He's not even 19. He's 18 right now. That's it. On to Everton next, and I don't really have a man of the match, to be honest. Probably give it to Cody for the clearances, but otherwise Kane for the goal. So on to Everton.